The big difference between profit organizations, which I have represented all my life, and what you guys do is this. You work for a cause driven by your commitment and passion. Our biggest challenge in corporations always is to get commitment. Engagement is a surrogate for commitment for us. So if you look at worldwide data, less than 16% of employees are engaged in corporations today. 84% are disengaged. And about 60% of them are actively disengaged. And actively disengaged, saying, I want this company to flop. I don't want anything to do with it. Okay. On the other hand, for you, your commitment and passion is never a doubt because this is something you believe in. Okay. You're not doing it because there is some CEO, chairman asking you to do it, sell more product, sell more service, etc. You believe you can make a difference, and that's the reason you're doing this. And that itself is a noble cause. Okay? So that's the first fundamental difference between a profit organization and a not-for-profit entity. Okay? Next, in your sphere, I believe it is not managing success or failure. It's about managing impact. Because if you want to change, if you want to say we need to get rid of malaria in Bangalore, suppose there are 1,000 malaria cases. You might get rid of 1 in the first year. You might get rid of 20 in the second year. You might get rid of 100 in the third year. So the issue is not whether the cause is right or not. The impact. For you, getting 1 itself is success, okay, or failure, one of the two. So how much impact can you create in social enterprises is the real challenge. So whether it is trying to uplift the poor, which we've been trying to do for years now, India has done a fabulous job of that, or trying to get inclusivity, trying to get more women in the organization, everything is a cause. Okay, so for you, for example, in my last company in PepsiCo, I insisted that we recruit more women than men. So if there were 100 jobs, 70% of the jobs went to women in the time that I was there. We actively said, hey, this is what. And the HR lady who's now become the head of HR for PepsiCo, Pavitra Singh, a wonderful lady, she had a very smart thing. She used to actually mask CVs. One of the hypotheses she had was that, when people saw Anita Bhatt or Shilpa, people would say, I don't want to work with a woman. Men would do that. So what she started doing was she started masking the name. She would only send the qualifications. Okay. And she found that the recruitment of women doubled as a result of that. Okay. So a very simple idea, doesn't take much money, etc. So, for example, is 70, what's the impact? I would say, would I have liked all 100 to be women recruitment? Obviously, yes. But 70 is a good impact? I think so. So similarly, in your role, think of impact. Don't think of something as success or failure. Because you are shooting for a bigger cause and a larger cause. Okay, so it has taken India, okay, from 1947 to now, 53 plus 20, 73 years to go from something like 80% poverty to 22% poverty. You get it? So nothing in the social sphere, nothing is overnight. It's not a switch you turn on. It's not 0-1. It's not binary. Because in the social space, you are dealing with attitude, which leads to some behavior. Okay, so those take time. And no money or whatever you throw at it can work. Tomorrow, suppose we want to sell more tea or shampoo, we'll cut the price by 20%. You can't cut the price to sell a social cause. Do you get it? It's much more emotional. That's what I want you to think. Okay. So, Vandana asked me to speak of the dilemmas of leadership, typical dilemmas of CEOs, and you would find this even in your role as a CEO of whatever you're doing. Okay? I just have 6 slides, but these I found, and I truly reflected on it after she sent me the mail with Shilpa, because very rarely has somebody asked me to speak about the dilemmas of being a CEO. Most people ask you to speak about the success of being a CEO. Okay, how did you get to be CEO? What did you do as CEO, etc. But very rarely does somebody say, hey, tell me, what are the problems of being a CEO? What are the challenges of being a CEO? Okay, so with my 17 years of being a CEO, these are 6 slides I've put together in terms of the dilemmas I have faced when I've been a CEO. Okay, so number 1 up, okay, whom do you trust is the biggest challenge. And trust me, I've asked many people this question, many CEOs before me, okay, many senior managers. Okay, I've asked my ex-boss Indra Nui too. She said, Shiv, it's something you need to learn, that's all. So I can start by saying, I will trust Mansoor, I will trust Amruta. I start by that, but they can disappoint me. They can disappoint me, they can let me down, but I can do little about it. That doesn't mean I stop trusting people. I need to take my next chance with Subrata to say, I will trust you now. So trust is something that each leader, till the other person disappoints you, you have to keep trusting. You have no choice. That's life. You know, so there is nothing called, I cannot trust anybody in this place. A lot of leaders say that. I can't trust my team. Then what are you doing? You know, you have to start by saying, I trust you till you fail me. Okay, that's number one. Okay, Ronald Reagan said the best, and this is an advice I've followed from the day I've been a CEO. He said, trust but verify. It's a very important thing. Trust does not mean abdication. So if I trust Amruta, it doesn't mean I turn up, you know, I've trusted you, now do what you want. That's not trust. That's abdication. If I trust her, I must also verify. Trust but verify is what Ronald Reagan said. Okay, so you can never be in a situation when you say, I cannot trust people. So imagine if you are driving on the road, as an example. How can you drive on the road saying, okay, I don't trust the other guy to drive properly? It doesn't work, right? All of us fly. The pilot does not take off saying, I trust the other pilot to be at that altitude, right? You have to trust. Trust is the equation by which society is based. If I elect a leader, I'm electing him so that I trust that he will do a right job. So every single thing, for example, you have children, you send them to school. You trust that they will be good students in school, right? Yes or no? You can't put a gun at their head. You just have to trust them. More important, you have to trust them to tell you the truth. Remember that. So trust is a very, very nebulous thing. Very difficult. And this is the biggest challenge I have found. And I have been disappointed in people I have trusted. Equally, I have been extremely surprised by people who have lived far beyond my expectations and have earned much more of my trust through selfless acts. You know, so humankind will surprise you on trust. There is no one equation. Some people will let you down, some people will go beyond. Okay, so that's the first dilemma of being a CEO. Second dilemma of being a CEO. By being a CEO, you are very good at what you are. The challenge is, when do I delegate when I know I can do better? I know I can do Pankaj's job better than him, but I still need to delegate. I know I can do Diljeev's job better than him, but I still need to delegate. That's the challenge of being a CEO. By definition, you know the job better. By definition, you have more experience, more skill, everything. But you still need to delegate, and you still need to get work out of that person. Okay, so many times you have to step back and you have to make that person realize that, hey, you know, you have to fail and you have to learn it yourself. If I teach Pankaj, he'll say, Shiv, that's old hat. Let me do it my way. But when he does it his way, I can see that he's going to fail. But I still have to let him do it his way. He cannot do it my way. Okay, so that's the second challenge of being a CEO, which is you know you can do your subordinate's job better than they can do it, but you still need to delegate to them. Okay, that's number two. Number three, the balance between being supporting and demanding. See, all of us work, as you said, for a cause. So you want a cause to be done, you want a cause to develop, etc. There is a time to which I can support Saraswati or Bajranga. But equally, there has to come a time when I have to say, hey, what have you done? What's your accountability? You get high trust, paradoxically, you get high trust when you have high accountability and high commitment. You get very low trust when you have zero accountability. That's the funny paradox of life. You have to hold people accountable. At the same time, as a CEO, you need to support them. Because if you only hold them accountable and don't support them, you will create a pressure cooker environment where people are very scared. They'll go outside and ask people, how's the mood of the boss? Nobody wants to talk to you because they don't see you as supporting. So as a CEO, it's a knife edge, and that's the picture. You have to balance support with accountability. Support, demand, both. Okay? That's exactly what you do with your kids. You shower them with gifts of love, right? But you tell them, I want you to come first in class. That's what you do, right? Yes or no? You support a lot, but you demand a lot. It's the same thing for a CEO. So you have to support adequately, at the same time demand adequately. If you just support and you don't demand, then you're running a social club. You're Indira Nagar club or Bangalore club. That's what you're doing. It's a nice club, right? There's no results. There's no impact. Okay, so think about that. Number 4, stamina and control. When you're a CEO, the long haul. I've been a CEO for half my career. 18 years I've been CEO. Trust me, everybody from the outside thinks CEO jobs are sexy, fantastic, title is there, etc. The day you became a CEO, it's the most lonely world. Nobody will tell you what they want to tell you. So you have to get the truth out. It's like you have to be a dentist, root canal therapy. You have to bring tooth, pull out truth from people, otherwise it doesn't come. Okay, people start telling you what they think you want to hear. Okay, you have to have mechanisms for your own information, your own work, etc. Okay, so the stamina to be a CEO is enormous, because fundamentally the biggest thing about being a CEO is that you have to sacrifice many things. You only have 24 hours, everybody has 24 hours. And what people want most from you when you're a CEO is your time. Whether it's the security guard, whether it's the coffee boy, whether it's the junior manager, whether it's your team, everybody wants your time. But you only have 24 hours. You need enormous stamina to stay the journey. Enormous stamina, not ordinary stamina. That's why the average lifespan of a CEO in this country is 4 years. In America, it's 4.7. That's it. People don't have the stamina. And that's why long-serving CEOs, people who are CEOs for 10, 20 years, are rare. So everybody wants to be a CEO. Everybody wants to be a young CEO. But they don't realize the burden of sacrifice that comes with being a young CEO. They just don't realize that. Because it looks very attractive from the outside. Media writes about it. Everybody writes about it. It's good to have CEO on your CV. But they don't know the amount of sacrifice. For example, in my case, as Anita said, I used to play a lot of sport. I captained my university team in tennis as well as cricket. I used to be a great fan of music. I've got outstanding music collection, etc. But as I became CEO, I found that I can't play because I'm traveling. Now, whether you want to play anything, you want to play tennis, you need a partner. When your schedule is wrong, you can't hold that guy. Okay, and nobody is waiting for you to land back and go and play. Okay, so your schedule does not fit other schedule. Okay, you are holding continuous meetings, whether it's in a car, in a meeting, etc. Music is out of the window. Okay, so a lot of your personal hobbies and habits go out of the window if you want to be an effective CEO. You could well ask me, so then what happens to work-life balance or work-life integration or whatever you want to call it? That's your choice. That's the problem. So when you are a CEO, you control what you can. That's it. You sacrifice what you can. As long as you say, I can live with this. Remember, I can live with this. And I tell all CEOs, and senior managers 3 things. Imagine life is 3 glass balls which you are juggling. One ball is called health. One ball is called family. And one ball is called career. Okay? So imagine there are 3 glass balls that you are juggling with. One is family, one is career, one is health. What is the only ball which can drop and break? Career. If you drop your health, there's no career. If you drop your family, there's no career. So whatever happens, do not drop the ball on your health as well as your family. The career ball can drop, break, you'll get something else. But you won't get another wife, you won't get another health. You won't get that. Or you won't get another spouse. Okay, so you have to control it yourself. Health, you can only do so much. You can run, you can eat less, you can have good food, etc. But beyond that, health is hereditary. 63% of health issues are hereditary. And it's unlikely that we know our grandparents' records right now. Okay, so that's all you can do. So you can do your best, have the right stamina. People want your time. You have to bring the most positive energy to all interactions. That is what a CEO does. Because when you talk of inspiring CEOs, etc., how do they inspire? They inspire through their energy. They inspire through their presence in the room, by talking to people, addressing people, and really galvanizing them. Next, when you're a CEO, you have to reflect and also act. So I tell all CEOs and senior managers, you must keep away at least 25% of your time to reflect. Many people don't reflect. They're just caught in the rush of day-to-day work and day-to-day activity. You have to step back, reflect, think about what's happening. Why is it happening? So maintain a diary. In the morning, see what your meetings are. Are you well prepared? In the evening, when you're going back home or you sit at home over a cup of tea, reflect on how was my day? What did I do right? What could I have done better? Why did I do what I did? It's good to reflect because nobody else will help you reflect. That's the trouble of being a CEO. You have to reflect yourself. Okay, so while you have to be strong on action as a CEO, you have to be extremely strong on reflection also. And I would urge you at least 25% of your time must be spent on reflection to think about. Otherwise, you'll be in non-stop action mode, like an engine, like a train. You'll be running like mad, but you won't achieve much. Okay, so reflect. That's very, very important. And the last one, very, very important one. Okay. The big challenge for most CEOs is they become the role and not the person. So many times people will say, you know what, Janvi is a CEO, but I really wish I know her as a person. Sachi is a CEO, but I really wish I got to know her as a person. So many times your people will say that. Saying he's a damn good CEO, but I don't know him as a person. That's a challenge for CEOs. Because by definition, they've put a cap on you, they've given you a sword, they've given you armor, you're CEO, right? By definition, people want that. Then for you to be vulnerable and tell them stories about yourself, your family, your background, and engage in that. The challenge of being a CEO is that they don't see the person behind the CEO. And because you're playing the role so effectively, they don't see it. Okay, so this is another thing which I found. So I try to spend time with my people, talk to them, reflect, etc., have fun. Okay, and here having team outs, offsites, etc. really help. Taking your team out even for a cup of tea or whatever, just sitting around a cup of tea and talking is helpful. Try and do as many of those activities as possible. For example, yesterday, the whole strategy team of ABG plus the strategy heads, we came to Microsoft to spend a whole day reflecting on what technologies are out there and what can we do. Now there are 25 of us sitting there, having lunch, having tea, it builds a certain bonding. Last month we went on our annual offsite to Istanbul to say, hey, what does each person want to achieve in this team? Okay, so have as many of these team outings. They need not be expensive at all, but just spend time. Okay, that's how they will get to know you and you will not be a role vis-a-vis the person that you truly are. So in summary, I started with my story on Vandana and the unblocking. So please WhatsApp her and say, hey, I'm going to block you. Please do that. Okay, please ensure that you block her so that she realizes, because she blocked me. Okay. The moment I said I will not do this session, she blocked me. That's also passion of one kind, but a very different passion, right? Okay, a very different passion. So, and I talked to you about in your sphere, impact is more important than thinking about anything as success or failure. And I talked to you about the dilemmas which I have faced of being a CEO, which are this: whom do you trust? Delegating when you can do better. Balance between being supporting and demanding. Stamina and control for the long haul. Reflection versus action. And being the person that you are and not just playing the role. So that's all I had to say, ladies and gentlemen. It's exactly 2:43, so I'm 2 minutes ahead of my schedule. Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and please say thank you to Vandana, Anita. Okay. I've really enjoyed putting this together for all of you, and I really hope that you create a lot of impact. We need many more people like you in India if truly India has to be a great nation. Thank you for that. Okay.